Hey, and welcome back to Aligned and Thriving for Teachers. In this episode of our self-care series, we are stepping it up a notch. We're diving into the beautiful, bold, and sometimes really awkward world of boundaries. If the last episode was all about learning to say no, well, it was, the last episode was about learning to say no, and hopefully you've practiced that a little bit by now. Today is about what happens next, how to actually set those boundaries that protect your peace, your time, your energy, and your nervous system. This one's a bit of a love letter to all the teachers out there, especially my leadership friends, who are juggling it all: work, family, expectations, and trying to do it with grace, but maybe you're feeling like you're sinking a little inside. So let's change that. So, boundaries. What actually are they? Let's define this in normal, non-scary language. A boundary is simply a limit that protects your energy and your well-being. It's the invisible fence that you set to say, this is okay, that's not. Now, there are two types of boundaries. There's your physical boundary. These ones are easy because you can actually see it if it's space. So saying things like, oh, please don't touch me. Or it could be a time limit too. I'm not taking calls after 7, sorry. You can also have your mental and emotional boundary, and these are tricky. They're things like how much of yourself you give in a conversation, or maybe what energy you absorb from someone else, or even how much negative self-talk you allow in your own head. So the kicker is boundaries are a skill. They're like a muscle. The more you use them or enforce them, the stronger and easier they become to continue to enforce. So let's start with time boundaries. And that's the big one for me as a teacher. So it might be for you too, but it's hard. As teachers, we often forget that we're actually allowed to not respond to parents at 9:47 p.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning for that matter. We're also not supposed to check our emails first thing on a Sunday morning, and we don't have to be on 24/7. So let me be real with you as someone in leadership that I have had to work hard on this. We talk a lot about the right to disconnect and that it's something I myself try to model to staff, because if we don't take that seriously, we burn out fast. It's just as simple as that. You have a right to disconnect. So disconnect. Set yourself some time boundaries and let people know what they are. I've been in charge of relief before, so I always made it really clear when people could contact me about relief. So when is a window of time that actually works for me, my family, and my setting, and what times that was, and whether it's a phone call or a text, and if I don't answer, what to do, because that's a time boundary. I can set that up and I can protect my time by giving that actual boundary out, okay? You have permission to only answer your emails during work hours because that's part of your job. You have permission to mute the school group chat after 5 o'clock or on weekends. You have full permission not to give an instant response to everything. Your life doesn't belong to your inbox, so put up that invisible fence, okay? Set some boundaries around your time. Personal boundaries. So this is like your mornings, your evenings, your time around your family or your friends. Boundaries just aren't for work. They are for your life. Here's where you might need them. Your morning routine. So no checking social media in bed, no racing out the door, just time for you. Remember my morning routine? My 5 o'clock a.m. club, I'd like to say, but it's really 4:35 a.m. club because that's when I start my day. But that is a boundary that works for me. Your evenings. Maybe that's your journaling time, your reading time, or your binge watching your favorite TV show, turning your mind off time, or just sitting in peace without marking books at the same time. Now, I understand that sometimes your boundaries need to change when it's stuff like report writing time, but you still need to protect that time too. So you might say, okay, this is my evening time when I don't usually do my marking. Instead, I'm going to do 45 minutes of marking, and then I'm going to stop and have a break for 15. I'll do another 45 and then I'm done. And I'm putting everything away and I'm going to relax. My husband's actually really good at enforcing these things. If I say, right, I'm going to do this much work, and he'll go, okay, that's this many episodes of this show on YouTube. When that's done, we're watching our show. And I'll do that. He honors that, and I honor that too. You need to put boundaries around your family time. And I literally can't even talk today, quarantine time with my kids, and I name it up. Say, hey, I'm actually spending time with my family right now. I'll get back to that later. Or I just don't. If I don't respond, it's probably because I'm busy doing things, and I'll come back to that. So I will quite often leave emails unread so that I know that I need to check them and then reply back to them. That way I don't miss things, and I can reply when I want to, so within my boundary. Okay? Because if you don't protect your time, someone else is going to fit and fill your time with their priorities. Because if you're not protecting it, like who is? Who is actually managing that? You are responsible for your time management, and you're responsible for managing your boundaries around your time. You're also responsible for putting boundaries with people. So this is the whole theory about how you actually negotiate. Let's talk about people. Sometimes setting boundaries with others might mean that you need to say, "Oh, sorry, I'm not available for that today," or "I actually can't take that on right now." Or my favorite one, "I'm focusing on my health at the moment. I'm sure you understand." So that's that time when we talked about no and learning to say no. That helps you to put boundaries in place with people. Other times it might actually be about your physical space and a physical boundary. I have friends and family who love a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and maybe friends that like to ninja roll, like, I was saying ninja roll, like, bear hug, grab you, tackle you, or that type of thing, or like touch your face. I have a couple of friends that love to do that. It's only them, and I will let them do that because we've had that conversation. We have those boundaries for us in place, and I know what works and what doesn't, and they respect that too. But then I have other friends that will literally run a mile from you, and every time you take a step closer, they'll move back. If you get too close, they're moving away. So now, if we're in that like, I'm a physical person, so I love a hug. And if they're sort of reading the room and I'm having a moment and they're there and they're the only ones there to comfort me, they're like, oh, I was like, oh, could I please have a hug? Or I just need a hug right now. And then they'll awkwardly sort of step in and give you that hug because that's so uncomfortable for them. But I'm sort of trying to give them permission to step into my boundary and out of theirs, if that makes sense. But you've got to have those conversations, and ask those questions. And it's the same with kids because they have that physical boundary. I don't know, like teaching early childhood, I learned a lot about my physical boundary. I actually do have a bubble. I didn't think I did, being a person who likes physical touch, but no, I do not like the child that is patting me up my skirt on my stockings and patting my legs. I really don't like the child who is like patting my shoes and pulling on my dress or patting my tummy. I actually have a bubble. It's like a hula hoop around me. I don't like kids touching me without my consent. And look, kids should be exactly the same. And we have those boundaries in place. And I would articulate that with my students and say, oh, I've got a bubble, remember my hula hoop. Like, I've had to physically get the hula hoop out and put it on the floor around my preps because, yeah, they were really sensory. They loved it. Could not wear my suede shoes to work anymore because that was too much fun. We really liked to touch my shoes. So I just went, no, we need to change that. So I put a boundary in place. I physically put the hoop down so they could see that I had a bubble and they could respect that because I asked for space and I did it respectfully. You can do the same. Hey, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. Can I have some space? It's perfectly respectful. It's a perfectly adult thing to say, and we're teaching our students to do the same too. And it's the same as if your kids are upset. Like, you get those students that are crying, and I will say, like, do you want a hug? Is it okay if I hug you? Or you can hug me if that's what you need. So I'm not overstepping their boundary or my boundary or breaking any other boundaries respectfully, school-wise. So doing it that way. So that's all part of naming it up, framing it up, and holding yourself to it. So there's a bit of a simple boundary formula, and it's exactly what I just said. So number one is to name it up. Identify what boundary you actually need. Is it around your time, your energy, your space? Number two is to frame it. So communicate it clearly, but with kindness. I gave you some examples of how I did it with students. Like, you can do the same too. The third thing is to hold it. So stick to it. Even when people are pushing your boundaries, like especially then, you need to stick to your boundary. Okay. And don't forget that boundaries are about you, not them. And it's not about control, it's about care for yourself. Because if I haven't made that message clear over the last few episodes, but this is self-care. This is about yourself, you. Okay? This is you. All right. So we're trying to move you from the people-pleasing mindset to power. So the raw truth from me to you is that I've told you this before, I'm just repeating myself. I've spent years struggling to put myself first. I was the one consistently saying yes, consistently talking down to myself and being negative about myself, the way I look, the way I acted, everything, and putting others ahead of my own health. I have had to learn, and I want you to learn faster than I did. Okay? Learning from my mistakes. This is me trying to help you. Boundaries are not bad, they are beautiful. Putting yourself on a pedestal, it's not arrogant, it's essential. And I love telling people that now. You can put yourself on that pedestal. Like, I mean, you probably have a partner that might put you on a pedestal, but you can put yourself there first. Give yourself a bit of respect and a bit of love because you matter. You're important. And it's essential that you are putting yourself first. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate and what you're accepting from others. So stop tolerating nonsense and treating yourself like start treating yourself like you matter, because we do. And I can't tell you that enough. You matter. What you do matters. How you act matters. So the way you are treating yourself matters. So let me give you some tools. We like to give tools. We like some handy dandy helpful hints. Let's help you with your boundaries. So I want you to try these. And it's going to be awkward. I'm going to name that up. It was awkward for me. But you need to do some mirror affirmations. So this is when you are literally looking yourself in the eyes in a mirror. So looking at yourself, your reflection. That's going to be hard for a lot of people. And it was hard for me. But it will make you stronger. So I want you to do some mirror affirmations. And you can make your own or you can use these. But some examples for you. You can look yourself in the eye and say, I am allowed to protect my time. I'll say that again. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. I am allowed to protect my time. Okay? Another one. I deserve to rest. Say it with me. I deserve to rest. Because you do. Another one. No is a full sentence. I said that in the last episode. No is a full sentence. Okay? So there's 3 things you could start saying to yourself to help build your self-talk. I want you to practice starting with some small no's, just little things that you might have usually said yes to that might drain you. Start saying no. That'll help you work your way up to bigger ones. And you can get support people. Talk to a friend or a coach like me who gets it. Maybe keep a boundary journal. What's worked? What didn't? Where do I feel the most drained? If you start naming it up, you can start to see where your time is actually going and where you might need to put some boundaries in place. Okay? And just remember that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up for you, for yourself. Again, self-care is about who, everyone? You. It's about yourself. So to recap, boundaries are not walls. They're doors with locks that you can control. Okay? You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to ask for space. And you are allowed to put yourself first. And the more you start to practice this, the easier it's going to get. On the flip side of this, though, I just want to mention that if you are someone on the receiving end of someone enforcing their own boundaries and maybe they've said no to you, I want you to try and respect that and not take offense to that. Because you might be standing there going, oh, well, that's rude. They've just told me, oh, no, I can't do that. Sorry. Well, that's okay. You can answer, oh, I respect that. I respect your boundaries, and walk away. Do not take that on. That is them looking after them, because they're looking after their self-care and they're enforcing a boundary. So that's the flip side of this. I'm teaching you how to help you with your boundaries, but if someone else is doing that, like if I'm doing that, I would hope that you wouldn't take offense to me asking you to respect a boundary, and that you would just respect that and move on pretty much. Don't take it to heart. So if all of this hits home, please make sure you share it with your friends, your other educator friends, whoever it might be, whoever you think might need to hear these messages about self-care, and to help others, because that's the aim. Remember that boundaries equal self-respect. And I promise, once you start living in this way, there is no going back. You'll wonder why you ever said yes to everything in the first place. You just won't know yourself, really. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, like it, follow me. Make sure you're following me on Spotify so you can keep track of all the new episodes that drop. I will do my best to keep sharing on Instagram so you can see when they're coming. But yeah, like, share, do whatever you need to do all of the things. My Instagram info is down there so you can DM me. I also have the Teachers Pay Teachers page with a couple of extra resources there that you might like to have a look at that may help you enforce some of those boundaries. So until next time, keep being aligned and keep striving to thrive, and have an awesome day.